And we are slowly creeping up on being live. And we are live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the zombie apocalypse. Yeah. Well, let me just welcome you to Apocalypse Humpday here at the b.hive. And we are continuing zombie saga for tonight. And this is night 8 of our zombie apocalypse. We're reading from my book, Zechariah 14:12. We're on chapter 6. Let me see here. Yes, chapter 6. And we are going to, we had a death last week in last week's reading. And we lost. Now, if you haven't listened in to last week's, plug your ears right now, because I'm going to leave a spoiler. So we have lost Grace Spellman, the prominent grandma and mother-in-law of Len and his children, and also the mother, Kris Emerson's mother. She took herself out before she changed. She got bit. And so Len and the kids had to leave her and ended up in good evening, Kevin. Ended up in a pioneer village in the city of Fair Lakes. So here in chapter 6, we are going to join Kris, who's totally unaware of what happened in the last episode, and her and her soldier that rescued her. They are heading to the National Guard Armory. They do not have a clue that the armory has already fallen, but they are heading that way, and also getting to know each other a little bit. So, without further ado, welcome everybody. Welcome drones, Buzz. I haven't seen Chuck tune in yet. So, yeah, let's get comfortable. Let's cheers here with the coffee. There's actually a rule on radio. Don't drink your coffee on the air. But we're not on radio, are we? Anyhow. So, yeah, let's get into the chapter. Let's see here. Doop-de-doo. Chapter 6. So where you from? Kris asked her new friend. He looked to be about mid-20s, black hair, deep brown eyes, and a good build. Originally, he said, keeping his eyes on the road. Originally, I'm from Grand Island, Nebraska, Cornhusker State. Booyah! Well, what brought you to this fine city? Oh, I'm full-time military, ma'am. My unit was sent here from Des Moines to help out the Red Bulls. You can call me Kris. Yes, ma'am. She hated being called ma'am. It made her sound old. She was 34, goddammit. Call me Kris or Miss, not ma'am. So are you married? No, Kris. I'm engaged, though. Planned a June wedding for next year. Oh, I'm sorry. You must be worried sick about her. Yes, ma'am, Kris. But she lived on base with me, so I'm pretty sure she's okay at the shelter there. I'll call out there when we reach a safe zone. She watched out of the ambulance window at the carnage all around them. The town she had known most her life was a battleground. It was like a scene from a horror movie. Cannibalistic, infected people feeding on the uninfected. She looked down at her leg. Pain was dulled by self-administered doses of morphine and Novocaine she had found in the back of the ambulance. The infection seemed to have stopped at the tourniquet. That leg's going to have to come off at the knee, she thought to herself. examining the virus-ravaged skin on her calf. "How's it doing?" her young escort asked. "Okay," she smiled lightly. "So what's your name, stranger from Nebraska?" "Oh, sorry." He held out his hand. "Brent." She shook it and then clicked on the radio. "Iverson reporting from the emergency studios at KFMT. If there is anyone out there, I need rescue. Please come. I am trapped in the basement with 2 infected people and cannot get out on my own. If there is anyone out there in the area, please help or send help. Again, this is Hal Iverson reporting from the emergency." Kris looked around to get her bearings. "That's just up Erie Road from here," she said, putting her hand on Brent's shoulder. "What?" "KFMT Studios. Take a left here. It'll take you right to Erie Road where the radio station is." Brent looked down at the dash and then at the road again. "I don't know if we should," he said, unsure of himself. "Brent, we have to try and help him." You've seen how crazy it is out there. Do you really want to get out of the vehicle before we get to the stronghold at the armory?" "Brent, if it was your fiancée, wouldn't you want someone to go out of their way to help her?" He let out a big sigh and then took a hard left towards the radio station. "You're a good kid, Brent." "Thanks, ma'am." Touché, she thought. They drove by the same channel her husband had just passed a couple of hours ago and up onto Erie Road. Passing all the upper crust neighborhoods, they reached the sheep pasture and then the radio station. The lot had 3 cars plus the station vehicle. "Maybe somebody's already here helping them," Brent said. Brent rolled down his window and listened. Silence. "I don't think so, Brent." He checked the magazine of his M16 and nodded at her with another big sigh. Kris grabbed the handle to her door, but he grabbed her other arm. "I don't think so," he said. "You need to stay here. You're no good to me with that bum leg. Get in the driver's seat and wait for me and Hal to show up." Brent moved slowly into the radio station. The lobby was only littered with knocked-over furniture. As he made his way through the hallways, he saw ripped up and eaten bodies lying about desks and control boards, but he had no idea where the basement door was. The first door he opened was the station owner's office. It had dark, stained wood paneling with patriotic pictures and signs all about. Inside, the owner was lying back in his chair with a pistol still gripped in one hand and a hole in the top of his head. He winced at the sight of the owner's brains painting the wall behind him. He moved down the rest of the hallway and came to the FM studio. There was one of them inside, chewing apart what he thought may have been the afternoon drive guy. He opened the door with his boot quietly. He put a red bead on the infected and shattered its skull with what the boys were calling zombie rounds. It was a split-tipped bullet that splattered its target in several directions. Brent stood silently in the hallway waiting to hear more noises. He heard moaning and clattering coming from two doors away. He opened the door slowly and saw that it went downstairs. There was a faint glow, but it was pretty dark. He made his way down the steps, and the moaning and the banging got louder. There were ripped-apart bodies, eaten bodies, guns, ammo, and infected. "Hey, welcome, Chuck." The infected dead were lying about. He crouched behind a stack of boxes and looked in the direction of all the noise. There were 2. Male and female. They were hungrily banging on a large, thick glass that was spattered with blood and gore. On the other side of the glass stood whom he assumed to be Hal Iverson. Hal looked frightened and betrayed his normally calm, cool, and collective on-air voice. His shirt was drenched with sweat, and his hair was in disarray. Howdy. Hal saw the ray of red light coming from Brent's direction, and hope filled his eyes. With only 2 shots, Ginger and her infected partner had decorated the glass with the inside of their heads. Brent held a bead on Hal's forehead as he came around to the side door for the studio. "Have you been bit?" Brent asked while looking through the glass at him. Hal shook his head frantically. Raising his hands in the air, he rotated so Brent could see there were no marks or tears on him. "Come on out. The area is secure. For now," he ordered to a grateful Hal Iverson, newsman for KFMT KSOM radio. Brent and Hal were halfway up the steps when the ambulance siren went off, chirping off and on so not to attract too much attention. As they made their way to the front door, Brent saw that there was a group of 6 infected surrounding the ambulance. He could see another group of them coming over the hill. It was hard to tell just how many there was because it was dusk. "I'm going to start popping the ones around the ambulance," he said to Hal. "As soon as they start dropping, I want you to follow me. We're going to make a run for the side door of the ambulance. Am I clear?" "Yes," Hal said timidly. He didn't like the idea of being out in the open, and he started to miss the security of the emergency studio. Gunfire erupted in sporadic intervals. Hal watched heads explode, and he saw there was a woman in the driver's seat of the ambulance. They began their run, Brent firing into approaching infected. As they got to the side door, Kris opened it from the inside, and Hal was yanked inside. He was taken by surprise, and he almost wet himself. "Go, go, 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 go!" Brent yelled as he hopped into the back of the ambulance. Kris shoved it into reverse, and they squealed out of there. "Oh my God, that was a rush," Hal said, trying to swallow his heart. "Don't get too excited, newsman," Kris said from the driver's seat. "What's up?" Brent said, easing himself into the passenger seat. "You want the good news or you want the bad news first?" "Shit. Bad news, I guess." "I was listening to chatter on the CB radio. The armory has fallen." "Shit." "There was talk about a stronghold at Waymore Limited, also at the ethanol plant and the Moon Valley County Fairgrounds." "We'll have to make it to the fairgrounds, I guess. So, what's the good news?" "That there's actual chatter on the CB. It means there's other survivors." Brent thought how he'd feel if the CB was just dead air and felt a little comfort. "Which direction are the fairgrounds?" "West of the armory, about a mile," she said. And then Hal grabbed Kris's shoulder. "We need to get to my family. I haven't spoken to my wife since all this happened. I don't know if my kids are okay or anything like that." Brent shook his head. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Well, I'd call them, but the phones are down." "I'm sure they were evacuated with the rest of the..." "If you're not going to help me, can you at least just drop me off at my house?" "Where do you live, Hal?" Kris spoke up. "Are you serious?" Brent asked, upset. "Over off of Woodland Avenue," Hal answered. "Pretty fancy for a local newsman," she joked. "We're only dropping him there, right?" Brent asked Kris. "Sure, Brent. We'll just drop him off at his house and let him fend for himself while he looks for his family." Brent let out another long, loud, deliberate sigh. "You remind me of my husband. Whenever I ask him to do something he doesn't want to do, he lets out a big sigh," she smiled. And that, my friends, is the end of Chapter 6. We will be joining up with Len and his kids next week, which turns out it's going to be Valentine's Day for next Humpday, Apocalypse Humpday. So maybe get your sweetheart to listen with you next week. So Chuck and Kevin, thank you guys for stopping in. Appreciate you guys coming in. I hope you guys have a good week. There's a lot of things that are going around in my head that I want to do on here, and I think I'm just gonna throw caution to the wind and do them. So I'm going to be talking to other people that write, and also other people that play, and maybe just do a little interview, little chatter. It's going to be part of the what's buzzing at the Hive type of deal, so that I can make it a weekly thing, and to be engaged with you guys more, and also introduce some of you guys to the rest of yous guys. So maybe we can interview my friend Chuck here, and he can bring some of his honey badgers with him, and he can talk about the importance of having one during a zombie apocalypse. That might be a thing. I'm not sure, but we can only try, right? So yeah. Badgers. Well, Fair Lake shouldn't have got rid of those prairie dogs. There'd probably be less zombies around. Yeah. So, all right, you guys. Coming up, we got a gig. I have a gig on Sunday for Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to be playing for a couple hours at the bar in town. Tanker Bay Bar and Grill here in downtown Winthrop, Minnesota, across from the dairy plant. Going to be playing from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's an open mic type of deal. So we're going to have anybody that wants to come up and play and sing or whatever can come on up and join us. It'll probably be really disorganized. We didn't practice. But it's an open mic thing, so it's kind of an improv thing. But yeah, if you're not doing anything and you're in the neighborhood, come on out. Hey Gerald, thanks for coming out, buddy. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited. Some of you guys are going to be out there, and I got a couple friends from Rochester coming out, and Stephanie's going to be there. Terry, I think she said, is going to be out there. Kevin may be out there. He's doing the whole "I'm going to surprise you, you bastard" type of thing. So, and that's okay too. But anyway, yeah, so we'll, if we don't see ya, I'm going to probably do some videos from the gig and post them on here so you guys can see what's going on. For those of you that can't make it, it's on a Sunday, and I imagine most people like to stay home and drink at home and eat munchies at home or at a friend's house and watch the big game. So anyhow, yeah, so we've got that coming up, and then of course Tunes on Tuesday, which no, I have not come up with somebody that I'm going to feature. It may be just a mishmash. I know there's been a few songs here and there that you guys have thrown out at me. I may just try to get some of those songs down and just present them for you guys on Tuesday. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. I'm just tired this week. I have no gas going. Obviously, you can tell I'm drinking coffee at 9 o'clock at night. That's so I can give you yeah, Lemmy. Lemmy is one of them. So yeah, I gotta check out my guitar website that I steal all my guitar chords from, and see what I can come up with for you guys. I know Kevin has wanted to hear the Trogs. Yes, and so I wanna. Well, I already know how to play that one, and so yeah, we'll introduce that one. There's not a whole big library of the Trog stuff that I know. So Wild Thing is one of them that I know, and so yeah, we'll I don't know. Well, next couple days I'll come up with something, and then you'll see it posted on here, and then I'll send you one of those annoying invites to the event on Tuesday, and of course on Hump Day, Valentine's Day as well. We'll return back to the city of Fair Lakes as people that we love and know get mauled by flesh-eating, cannibalistic, insane freaks. So yeah, it's all good and it's all happy. So, all right, you guys, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go get some rest, some well-needed rest. Good to see you guys. Have a good week. All right, I'll send you that link, Gerald. No worries. All right, you guys. Peace and have a good week. This is the end.